we are looking ahead as we can capture all of those amazing action-filled moments on DYN's brand new streaming platform in German-speaking markets. Which leads us very nicely on to our next guest, Andreas Heyden, CEO of DYN Media. So he's going to start with a presentation to share his insights on DYN's mission to push the boundaries when it comes to fans, sponsors, and clubs. After that, he'll be joined by sports business expert Philip Klotz, founder and CEO of Transform Sports, to chat about DYN's take on the sport media landscape. So please welcome to the stage, Andreas.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the invitation. Being a partner of the EHF starting next season, I'm very proud to be here and presenting. The first big question for me is, how does the slides change? It's 2023. Why do fans need another sports platform? And I'm here today to tell you that. We are DYN Media. DYN Media, our mission is to serve underserved communities, which are currently the number 2, number 3, number 4 in the market, on a platform that is built for the purpose to service those fans. We were able to acquire the exclusive rights for handball, basketball, volleyball, table tennis, and hockey in the German-speaking territory. Why have we done that? 23 million people in Germany love football. 17 million love our sports. And for you internationals, that's roughly the size of the Netherlands. So there is a market for sports besides football. Nice. DYN is a new sport and a new home for those sports fans. Our mission is to raise the awareness and the appreciation of those sports in society. I worked 7 years in football, and I know how football fans feel. I know how they are passionate about their sports. There is no reason why they shouldn't be as passionate about handball, about volleyball, about hockey, table tennis. The coaches don't make the coaches train as hard with their team as they do in football, in handball. So there is no reason why there shouldn't be a platform that accommodates to those fans to represent those sports. Over the last year, actually, we were able to acquire those rights. Those rights represent for us, and sorry for the copyright infringement with EHF, the home of. So we are talking about the home of handball, the home of basketball, the home of volleyball, table tennis, and hockey. Never before have so many rights been able to acquire on a single platform. We have 8 national leagues and 5 European competitions, and this without football. We're here today to talk about handball. We are creating a Zuhause, a home of handball, with creating a product that feels like handball and that has handball focused. We are the first platform to put those sports first. When you're, and I have much respect for DAZN, for Sky, for the players in the market who have acquired rights in a width of across many, many sports. We do believe that if you want to do something really good, you have to focus, and you have to focus on something that is a little bit niche, but that you do very, very well. Our fan-first platform that we're going to launch in the beginning of August and going to have the first broadcast on the 23rd of August with the Pixum Super Cup will create a live experience that matches the current experiences and will over time increase the social factors and the interactivity, how people interact with the content, experience the content, and engage with the content. Furthermore, we believe, as there are 17 million people in Germany who are interested in those sports, that we have to create new ways to go beyond the TV experience, beyond the paid experience. We're going to create content that's going to live on partner platforms, on social media, outside the paywall, because we believe this sports handball is such a great sport, we have to create more and more eyeballs to it. The talk of today is about what forces must sport develop to remain relevant in the set of fans and sponsors. With the awarding of the media rights to DYN Media, we develop our media presence substantially. Here lies a great opportunity for more awareness and enormous growth potential. And we're very thankful for the Handball Liga because they trust in us. They trust in us on building a product around handball that does not yet exist. We were a brand name. We were called at that time as Nation, Sports Nation. We didn't have even a website. At that time, they believed in us, they believed in the concept and awarded us those rights. So what do we believe does sport need to achieve? And I'm coming back a little bit to the first talk of today, and it was quite interesting to see that there are some similarities. We believe you need three factors. You need reach, you need rank, and you need revenue, in that order. Let's dive into reach. Pace, greatest strength is free, which sounds a little bit crazy, but it's a mantra that we believe in. We believe by owning the rights for the live product that customers are going to pay for, we are able to chop and slice and dice the content to create more and more content around the match day to leverage the interest in that sport. Because, to our mind, we are moving from a status quo where there was always a promo of a match day, and then it went off, went down, and the next match day, and we went from match day to match day, and during the match week, nothing happens. Because the clubs didn't have rights, media partners didn't have video rights, the leagues didn't have rights. What we believe in is we were going to create demand between the live events by going all in on social media, going all in on partners, going all in licensing content back to the leagues and back to the clubs to show the greatest goals, the greatest moves and insights into the game. On top of that, we have launched as the first platform in Europe, the DYN Media Network. What is the DYN Media Network? We are creating over 800 videos per season with matchday recaps, game recaps, etc., that we're going to put into a central platform called the Content Desk, where partners that are in agreement with us, and our launch partners are Süddeutsche Zeitung, Hamburger Tageblatt. We're going to have a handball world for this audience. We're going to have digital out of home. They receive, minutes after the final whistle, the content, can produce it and add it into their articles that they're writing or into their screens, and with the next match day, with the next calendar day in the morning, have this content available on their platform. And with this, we are creating video inventory on their platforms, which is highly marketable to create new revenue sources and to upscale the editorial, the journalistic editorial around the game, because an article with a video clicks better than an article with a still image. But that's not enough. The next level that we see is rank. Rank is a quite tough word, and rank plays on various levels. On the one hand side, to really create an audience besides football, you need to increase your professionalism on many, many levels. You have to do investments. You have to have possibilities that you did not have before to be in the relevant set in the top ranks for these customers. Three main factors where we are supporting the leagues and the clubs to level up their rank. On the one hand side, as I said before, we're going to grant rights that we paid a lot of money for before back to the clubs, and we give them access to the content to tell their match day on their social media, on their blogs, on their YouTube channels, etc. And they can take the content and use it after on the next day after the match day. In the past, there have been partners in the market who granted rights, but it was very, very tough to get this content and to utilize it. So we created, as I showed before, the content desk, where it's very easy for the club to log in, download the content, upload to YouTube. It's a question of seconds more than hours then to get access to the content. Secondly, we have a dedicated marketing team. We have dedicated Liga managers who take care, whose only job is make handball experience great. We're going to spend a 7-digit number in marketing activities where handball is playing a major role in marketing our product. And let's say we created obligations, or we helped clubs and leagues to invest into infrastructure and personnel. For us, it is massively important that even clubs that have a small number of employees, there needs to be a professional social media person in taking the content and the rights that we give back to the clubs and utilize on their platforms. On top of that, create content for us, for DYN, which is very close to the match day, that we can then use behind the paywall. Cash. Let's go to the revenue. So how do we help the clubs to increase their revenue? On the one hand side, we pay a decent rights fee. But with this rights fee come obligations. But we believe that only by increasing the rights fee, we are able to start a process, an upward development for handball in Germany. We truly believe that, and this is something we learned in football, we truly believe youth development programs are important. On the one hand side, to create young teams that are able to grow as a team and individuals to grow as players, but also support this with revenue for the clubs to invest into those programs. Going to talk about that a little bit more. And I think the most important part is we're going to create visibility for the sponsors on media. Differently than in TV, in football, where you have 50% of your revenue coming from media, you have a majority coming from sponsoring. So when we are able to increase the reach for the sponsors of the clubs and to the leagues by more audience during the match day and outside the pay platform on social media, we are leveraging the reach for those partners to sell sponsoring packages on a higher price. And this is a major factor next to receiving more media revenue. We believe in the flywheel. Everything starts with attention. From attention that we create on the match day and between the match days, we create the demand for the product. If we do our job well, we create paying customers, which then at the end gives us money that we give back to the leagues and to the clubs to support their investment. We had an additional idea, one last thing. We're going to give back 10% of our revenue dedicated to the youth development of the leagues. That's big. That's really big. That's 10% margin we shave off to work with the leagues together with youth development programs, because we believe only by creating a revenue stream for clubs and leagues which is dedicated to supporting the youth, we're going to be successful on the long term. Reach, rank, revenue. This is what we believe what should be the mantra for each club, for each league, to go in a proactive step into the future. We're going to start on the 23rd of August with the Pixum Super Cup, and that's the team that's going to do it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Andreas, for this insight, and let's have a little chat about this very exciting project. So as you explained, DYN aims to increase the reach of your sports, like in general sports, but of course in special handball. What kind of proportion of this increase is to be realized by the clubs itself or by you?
That's a very good question. So I would say on the one hand side, by creating the home of handball, we are creating a single place where all relevant handball for the fan happens under one subscription. So the first step is you don't have to have 10 or 3 different subscriptions. You don't have to buy football to watch handball. It is a no-frills offer, which on the one hand side takes the live experience closer to the fan, because it's affordable, €14.50 per month, €12.50 if you commit to a yearly contract. And it's affordable, it's all in one place, and the live experience can be watched on smart TVs, mobile phones, all the necessary. But secondly, to grant the rights and to give access to the content, it can't be successful, our concept, without the clubs and the leagues. So the majority driver in the ecosystem of the fans of the clubs, it's going to be the clubs. Overall, to creating a compelling and exciting live experience, that's our part.
And could you give us more insights about these kind of obligations you mentioned?
Yeah. So the obligations of the clubs, which we train them on, is to create content that is very close to the match day, which they provide us through the content desk, which we then use on social media that we're going to put on air, etc. There are more obligations in the structural development, which I can't go into detail, but where we give the money for the youth development, but the league itself decides how it's going to be utilized. But it's in the licensing process, we created a fair amount of understanding with the leagues that it's really not just additional money, it's money with a purpose.
And what's your experience from the conversations in the last month? Are the clubs and the leagues right now professional and staffed enough to bring this power of the additional rights to life?
I would say a clear yes and no. There are some clubs which are very, very professional already, who have a great social media team, who have great output already. We're going to leverage those. They're going to have more and faster and better access to content than before, so they can get better. For the others, we are taking them by the hands. So we are doing workshops across all leagues where we bring handball and basketball and tennis and volleyball together into one room, the social media responsible people, and create an exchange that has never happened before for those sports, that they talk with each other, what is successful, what works well, etc. So this helps the clubs which just got promoted to the first league, who are not there yet, to take them by the hand. And we have, as I said, dedicated managers who are there for all their problems and challenges.
And could you, are you able to force the clubs to hire certain staff people, members?
So our contractual partner is the league, and we can't force clubs, but we have a very good understanding with the league that it's necessary to be done.
All right. How could you support your clubs? So we're talking about what clubs should do, but is there also, I would say, a customer success team which works really closely with the teams, and how does that look like in a day-to-day basis?
So as the league is for us the premier partner, we have weekly jour fixes where we, especially now, we're launching in 8 weeks, I think, or 9 weeks, where we are preparing the launch. But there will be an ongoing team, there is an ongoing team on our side who can always pick up the phone if there is a problem with the club, and wherever we can, if it's within our capabilities, we're helping the clubs to create better content, to tell better stories.
How many people are sitting in your office waiting for these kind of calls?
A year ago we were 4, now we are 50. Of that, the social media, the whole team that is responsible for league management, etc., it's a good 8 people.
Okay. So you talked about that. You have been CEO at DFL Digital Sports for 7 years. What are your key learnings in the area of creating digital content, and that is what we are talking about, and its distribution in a more successful way? Are there key takeaways you could share with us?
Yeah. The first takeaway is for me a football-specific takeaway. If you're able to score 1 billion in licensing revenue, you have to give a lot as a league. And there is always a trade-off between reach and revenue. And I'm not criticizing how the league has done any kind of the auctions for the rights, but having worked also on the German side for the Bundesliga DE, we were always very much restricted in taking content, in telling stories, etc. For handball and for the other sports, it's going to be different. It's going to be important for the league to tell their side of the story of the match day of the games, have access to that content and tell their view how they want to tell the match day. We're going to have our view and others have the other view, but have access to interviews, etc., and celebrate the sports in a league way, and for us as a broadcaster way. This differentiation, for this you need moving pictures material, and having access as a league to have this access to that moving pictures, that's for me is one takeaway. The second one is for me the differentiation between do I do something for the reach or do I do something for the engagement? For sure, at the end, anything that you do with a sponsor is in the first step reach focused, because it's at the end about eyeballs that you create. But if you do something around the fan, if you do something for the fair play moment of the match, if you do something special, and you see a lot of fair play in handball more than in football, that you do, it's more about engagement. It's more about showing the fan, we see you, you are relevant, you are a top focus for us. And this is something that we're going to try to experiment. How we're going to do that, we have not launched yet.
But in days like this, it's more difficult to create engagement because the organic reach is going down. So how you could leverage this?
I think we are as a sport in a very privileged situation. We are not the next fintech startup, the next smoothie or the next protein shake. We are something that people love. Since 2 weeks or 3 weeks now, we're selling already subscriptions. We don't even have a website yet, but people are buying our product because they love handball. You don't love Mars or cigarettes. You don't love it, you use it. Here is something that has an effect on the organic reach. And if people interact with sports content, generally speaking, you have a higher visibility in organic traffic than you are when you do marketing for sweets. So I believe that by focusing engagement, we're going to increase the organic reach in the dedicated user groups. It works a little bit different on TikTok, but we don't do TikTok as us, and the clubs are doing the TikTok.
That's a good point. Which kind of channels do you recommend for in regards to making a better social media communication?
For us, our main hub is going to be YouTube, because YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world. If people are going to search for a video for YouTube, they either do it on Google or a video on handball. They either do it on Google or they do it on YouTube. That's for us where we're going to play the live games for hockey, for example, in the first year for free, where volleyball and table tennis has been shown in those channels in the last year. For social interaction, we go all in on Instagram, and it's by far currently now the Instagram channels are up, I don't know, 4 days, 5 days or something like this, where we have already the most followers in those channels.
But when you are talking about social media content, you're always talking about videos, or are we also talking about photos and stories?
Yeah, definitely. So for us, how the team, which job the team has done already in covering the finals in basketball, I highly recommend to subscribe to DYN Basketball. I think the team has done a tremendous job, even though we don't have any moving pictures rights yet, because it's going to be next year. The stories that they are telling through pictures, through interactivity, I think it's really top-notch.
So you differentiate between the different sports. So you don't have the DYN social media channel? Do you have DYN Handball, DYN Basketball, DYN Volleyball, whatever?
Yeah, we have our catch-all. That's a DYN Sport. It's always the umbrella channel. But we go deep into the DYN Basketball, DYN Volleyball, because at the end, this is what our analysis shows is good for the organic reach and for the engagement. Because, and that's a fact, we all know that classical handball fan is a little bit older than the basketball fan, so we're going to have also a different way how we're going to express ourselves in social media.
And how important is it to collaborate with big tech companies? Back in the days of the DFL, you partnered closely with AWS. Do you think relationships and partnership like this makes also sense for sports like handball?
Oh, definitely. I think if you are a club or you are a league or you are a broadcaster, being close to one of the big cloud providers. Currently, we are not exclusively with one. We use multiple cloud providers, including AWS. We take the right tool for the right problem. Being close to system integrators, being close to tech companies, cloud providers, local tech companies is something that gives you leverage in developing as a club furthermore. And for sure, they won't do it for free. But, and this is what I always refer to, sports is a sandbox for innovation. You know, you can show a new algorithm, a new, I won't say AI, okay, a new AI beautifully at sport. Or you can do a Hauptversammlung of the Deutsche Bank, General Assembly of the Deutsche Bank. What is more exciting? I would say, nothing against the Deutsche Bank, but I would say a handball game is way more exciting than a shareholders meeting.
But you said you have maybe to pay something for these kind of partnerships, but there are many partnerships like Adobe with Bayern Munich, or AWS was also, I guess, a sponsor of the Bundesliga. Or is it possible, or should it be the aim to create this kind of barter partnerships, or is it better to pay this this tech partner because then you have a higher priority?
I would say reach, rank, revenue. Well, once you created the reach, once you are in the relevant set for that partner, and your story fits to their aims, what they want to transport, then you can earn money with them. If any club would go nowadays just to AWS and say, hey, come on, sponsor us, it's more like, give us your credit card. So being close to technology, I believe, is always good. It is good because it enables you to do stuff differently, and if handball wants to become successful, there is a lot on the club, on the league, and us broadcaster level that we have to change, get more efficient, be more innovative, and this only goes with the support of outside parties.
Could that also be an opportunity for you to search for these kind of tech partnerships?
For sure.
Let's see. So your boss and founder of DYN is the former Bundesliga CEO Christian Seifert. I guess everybody knows him. And he said, and you quoted him, the greatest strength of pay is free. What does this, again, you try to explain, but to going more into detail, what does it mean in daily business? So I guess Sky, DAZN, and the other players like Sport Deutschland, .tv, they're doing same efforts or not? What make you completely different? What's your game changer?
The first game changer is the home off. There was a unique opportunity in time last year, and Christian was able to capture that moment where we were able to win those rights for those leagues without a product, with a concept. We believe we have the better concept on these three factors. A, creating reach and attention outside the match days in between. B, leveraging and enabling the clubs to do more, to give more back rights and tools. And thirdly, our Move Your Sport, which is our youth development program or support of the youth development. And these three factors, I think, are very, very unique. Do we have to create a customer experience which is comparable to a DAZN, to a Sky? For sure. I have to be able to buy, to log in. I need to find my game, I need to be able to stream it, enjoy it, and have a great commentary, have great experts around it. But that's a hygiene factor. The underlying strategic factors, these were the deciding factor.
And talking about the media network you mentioned, so at the very end, you can't control Süddeutsche Zeitung. So what they are doing, this kind of third-party publisher and fans, you can't control how much they engage with your content. What makes you so sure, and please share maybe your conversations with them, that this plan will work?
Because they're already doing it. You have Stuttgarter Zeitung has 4 Bundesligisten, 4 teams from the first league within their distribution area. They're already talking about women's volleyball. They're already talking about table tennis. They're already talking about handball. If you take a look at the Süddeutsche, they have a whole section just dedicated to basketball because of FC Bayern München basketball. And today's where money is short and revenue opportunities are a lot, but very limited, still limited on video content. The CPM, so the cost per 1,000 users, is 10 times, 20 times higher on a video than on a written article. So by enabling then, they can create more reach. Then it's editorially relevant, because we can't force them, but it is editorially relevant, and they create more revenue on it.
And how you profit from that?
The sports profits.
And you give the rights or the videos for free to them?
There is a technical access fee, small one, but generally for free, yes.
And then there's a rev share model for the advertising?
Nope, we do it for the sport. And to set it straight, we have the sports now, the rights for multiple years. If in 4 years we are a prosperous company, have happy customers, earn good money, but the sport hasn't moved, then we failed. We only are able to establish as a partner for the non-football sports if the sport of handball, basketball, volleyball, table tennis grows. That's the real measurement for me. How many people overall watch the sport, go into the stadiums, arenas, see the advertising, play the sport? How many tickets are sold? So it's about, I hate the wording, but the tide lifts all boats. It's about really taking the sports to the next level. Because if not, we will not be able to get the rights again, because then we would be just another broadcaster. And we are not just another broadcaster. We are DYN.
All right. So when we are talking about increasing reach, could you give us some numbers? Is it about 100% more? Is it more? Is it less?
Yep.
What are your estimations?
The first thing is, I don't know if everybody knows, but we are, our owner actually, majority owner is Axel Springer. It's, I think, by circulation or by reach, the 6th largest media company in the world. They have a whole array of different brands, from Welt to Bild to Politico to Business Insider. And in our relationship with them, we are their opportunity to grow in the sports space. This means they are built is football. But how should you grow? The German football team hasn't won much. The German championship, 11 times the same winner. So how do you grow football? There is no room to grow. With our sports, there's room to grow. And if you've seen what's happened throughout the last half year, around the European Championships, around the hockey winning the national, the international title, the world champions. For Bild, it is a great opportunity to go into a new content space. And if we are able to create great content that's able to tell great stories, they are able to tell stories, and they're an amplifier. The same on a club level. So for me to say we want to do X-fold, 10, 100, there's not a real number to it. We will see over time, because it is not just upon us, it is how much do the leagues and the clubs are part of this promise into the future to take the sport to the next level.
And what do you were talking about reach, and then afterward, after this about revenue, sponsoring revenue. So, as you said, the big majority of the income is related to sponsoring revenue. So, if we would talk about 20, 30, 50% increase, that would be insane for these kind of clubs. So,
if you take current relationships of how much revenue do you do with media rights, how much do you do with sponsoring rights, an easy number is, if we just grow the sponsoring revenue by 10%, in average, in relationship to the media rights, we double the revenue of the media rights. So as these sports and leagues, these sport clubs and leagues are so highly dependent on creating presence for sponsors, every percent counts that we're able, and it counts big because there's a high leverage, because the overall relationship of sponsoring revenue is so high in the total sum of revenue.
All right, looking to a different topic and to your business model. It is very obvious that subscription fees are an important part of your business model. Are there other relevant sources of revenue we should keep in mind?
Yeah, we have 3 sources of revenue. Paid revenue, it's going to be the majority. We're going to sell advertising. So imagine going to Tokyo and see no billboards. Advertising is part of the reality in sports, and it's going to be part for us too. We have announced a partnership with ProSiebenSat.1, their sales agency, which is one of the 2 large classical broadcasting groups. And the third one is licensing, sub-licensing. So you will see free games on the public broadcaster. 12, you will see free games on Bild, on the public, on the privately owned Axel Springer publishing platform, Bild, and that's the third source of revenue. Will there be additionally in the future? We will see. You won't hear me say metaverse. You won't hear me say NFT. You won't hear me say AI.
All right. On a long-term perspective, you mentioned there's 70 million sports fans. How many of them are convertible for DYN? What do you guess?
A lot.
How much?
We're very, very confident because there hasn't been yet a platform that satisfies the needs of the handball fan. And if you would say of the 70 million, you have 8 million, maybe 6 million, 8 to 6 million in handball fans. That's a lot. Just imagine that's still the size of Austria. So we believe it's a decent amount of people that we are able to convert.
And you have to do a lot of performance marketing to reach these goals?
At the moment, nobody knows us.
We know you.
Well, that's good. So we have 2 main marketing strands. One is brand marketing, where we go into big media, where we go into the Axel Springer environment, where we're going to go into TV, and then we're going to have really performance marketing, efficiency-driven customer acquisition.
So you talked about in 5 weeks or 8 weeks, you're going to have your first match on DYN. So when we will be able to pay our to buy our first pass? So
I'll send you later the link. No, I would.
But when it's a big opening, so
I think it's not about the big bang. It's not about the big bang because people who love the sport actually asking for it right now. They're going to lose their subscription with Magenta and with Sky in these days. And they are looking forward to a new home. Generally speaking, publicly, I would say in July, there will be a button on the webpage where you can buy.
And do you plan a big media campaign or something like that?
Yes. So it's going to be in July, and then ongoing. I think it's an open secret that the majority of the subscriptions you sell 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks before the first match day and afterwards. We have the luxury that we're going to have 2 large events happening, the start of handball, 23rd of August and the 24th of September, basketball is starting. So we are able to stretch out this acquisition phase for a longer term.
And how close do you work together with the guys from Bild and Welt and Axel Springer?
A lot, very, very deep. So for them, give them access to news stories that they can tell. They are our owners, but it's their editorial independence, whether they talk about us or not. I would say they should talk about us. It's in their favor. For us, they have two roles. On the one hand side, we use their reach, classical advertising on their platform. And secondly, as I said before, the editorial part that they get people to, that they get in front of eyeballs with the content of handball and basketball and all our other sports.
Andreas, thanks a lot for these insights. I guess I can speak for everybody in this room. We wish you all the best for this really exciting project. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.